Hi students, Logan Phillips here. In this video we're going to be talking about our grade disputes and complaints. We're going to outline the procedures on how to do a grade dispute, how we deal with grade complaints inside the class. We have these guidelines to make sure we ensure a fair and professional resolution process for any of our grade disputes and complaints. Now, the very first thing to keep in mind, any disputes or complaints will always start with me, your professor. You must address me first with your questions, comments, and concerns before you go up higher than me. Now, before I told you that you are not the customer, that you are the product being made, that this is a professional environment. That was addressed in a video or two before this. One of the ways of professionalism inside a working environment, you would never jump over your boss with a complaint about your job before talking to your boss. You would be sent right back down and reprimanded for jumping ship. The same thing will be happening here. So initial steps for grade disputes and complaints. If you wish to dispute a grade, whether for a single assignment or for your final grade, you need to present a formal complaint or accommodation request. The first step is to directly contact me in writing. So if you say, hey, Professor P, I see on Module 2, I got a 0 on the assignment, but I did it. I'm going to go, hey, student, something happens sometimes. Let me double check. I'm going to go into my systems. I'm going to go in. I'm going to see if the system messed up, if there's a troubled error, if there was a glitch, if there's anything else going on. I'm going to see when you submitted it, what you submitted. I'm going to go through all the troubleshooting, and I'm going to come back to you and be like, hey, I see you submitted it, and the computer had a wrong date set, or I see you submitted it, but you're 15 seconds late past the deadline, or I see you submitted it, but you submitted a blank assignment. This is the issue, and we're going to have a dialogue about it. That's how a grade dispute or complaint works on a singular assignment. If it's a final grade and the class is ended, you will need to go into the final grade. First, you start with me and say, hey, Professor P, I see I got a D, but my grade points add up to 716 points. Why didn't I get a C? I'm going to go in and be like, hey, I see that was an error. My fat fingers typing on a computer screen messed something up. I'm going to go in and adjust that for you. 99% of complaints and disputes are incredibly easy to solve and typically caused by either a fat-fingered entry into the computer or a slight glitch in the system, but easy enough fix, especially if you come to me in a polite and professional manner. Now, there's an important and crucial step in following this protocol and why we do it. If you bypass this process and contact my administration, or if you go to your academic affairs office, or you file complaints against me without ever having spoken to me, what happens at the point is I will stop speaking with you. So when you go to your academic advisor and say, I'm a terrible professor, he graded this wrong, and I want you to address him. Your advisors, your counselors, your financial aid officers, nobody else inside the college system has any authority to tell me, the professor, how to change or modify my grades, minus the grade dispute council. So when you do that, you have effectively shut down all discussion between me and you, and to solve the situation, instead of having a polite conversation, looking and seeing what the issue was and having that conversation, we are now going to go into the formal grade appeal process, where I'm going to take, because you've now involved a third party, complete data analytics of your course, what you submitted, and I'm going to hold it to the exact standard of everything that's been outlined to you at this point. And then we will follow the professional and appropriate channels going forward after that. So if you jump above me or you jump around me and you think someone has authority, it does not end well and makes things much more complicated, and we have to go through formal systems. Now, professionalism and communication is a big part of this. When disputing a grade, please provide a detailed and professional communication to help facilitate the discussion. So if you come to me and say, Professor P, you're the worst professor I've ever had in my life, you're a complete idiot, I turned this in, you gave me a 0. At that point, you've been assaulting, you came into me in an aggressive manner. I'm going to shut down, and we're going to follow the rules, protocols very clearly, and I'm going to give you a basic breakdown. But if you come to me like, Professor P, I submitted it at 5 o'clock, but it was 5:03 p.m. I was just off, my clocks were slightly wrong, and I have this issue, but I see I submitted it and graded, blah, blah, blah. We can have that conversation. We have some wiggle room. Not a lot, because we don't accept late assignments, but we have some. So professionalism in communication is of uber importance when dealing with not just me, a professor who doesn't get his feelings hurt very easy, but with any of your professors. Some of those guys are pretty soft, and they'll hold it against you. When dealing with it, it helps with screenshots of your earn points and questions. The more detail you can give me, the better. You know, what course you're in, what's your name, make sure it's coming from your TCC email, what the assignment is you're having a problem with. The more professional, the more details, the faster the resolution, and the better discussion we have. So make sure you do that. Now, understanding your final grade in this class, we do not keep a final grade column inside the course. If you want your total earn points right now, I give you your pacing schedule. It has the points associated with it. You will track that, add that up. Our class is worth 1,000 points. You'll take whatever number you have, divide it by 1,000, and that will give you your percentage in the class. The final week of class, I will put on the final grade column, and I'll show you your points so you can go into your finals with that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about grade disputes or complaints, if you start with me, it's usually pretty easy to resolve. If you jump around me, it makes it much more complicated. If it's after the deadline of class is ended, then we have to go through the formal complaint process and the formal grade appeal process. So make sure that you jump in, see your issues as fast as possible, contact me, be professional, and we'll get those fixed. Guys, if you have questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the videos.